Imagine the last rep of a set, so heavy you genuinely don't know if you'll finish it. Your hands are shaking. Your vision is narrowing at the edges. Every signal your nervous system can send is screaming at you to drop the bar. And then you don't. You finish the rep anyway. In that moment, something happened inside you that has never happened inside any other living thing. Your body changed because you decided it would. No other animal on Earth can do that. Not one. A lion is exactly as strong as its genes allow. A gorilla does not train. A bear does not choose to be more powerful before winter arrives. They are what evolution made them, and the gap between what they are and what they could be is sealed shut. They have no access to it, but you do. And the question nobody ever asks is why. Why does the human body respond to a decision? Why can you choose to become something your body isn't yet? The answer sits at the intersection of biology, evolution, and something that might be the strangest feature our species has ever developed. And it starts with what is actually happening inside your muscle the moment you decide to push past your limit. When you lift something heavy enough to challenge your body, you're not building muscle. You are destroying it. The force you generate during a set of squats or a set of deadlifts tears microscopic holes in the protein filaments that make up your muscle fibers. These are called microtears. Under a microscope, muscle tissue after an intense training session looks like a battlefield. Shredded fibers, disrupted structure, inflammation moving in like a flood. Your body interprets this damage the same way it interprets a wound, as a threat, as something that needs to be fixed immediately. And here's where the biology becomes extraordinary. Your body does not just repair the damage. It overbuilds. Satellite cells, which are dormant stem cells sitting just outside your muscle fibers, activate in response to the damage signal. They divide, fuse with the torn fibers, and donate their nuclei to the repair process. Each new nucleus brings with it an increased capacity to synthesize protein. The repaired fiber is slightly thicker than it was before, slightly stronger, slightly more capable of handling the load that damaged it. This process is called hypertrophy, and it is one of the most elegant adaptive mechanisms in all of biology. But here is the part that almost nobody talks about. Every animal that has muscle tissue has this mechanism. Lions have it. Gorillas have it. Every mammal on Earth has the biological hardware for hypertrophy. The capacity to rebuild stronger after damage is not unique to humans. What is unique to humans is that we're the only species that deliberately triggers it. A gorilla does not find a heavy rock and do sets until its back tears. A wolf does not run sprints until its legs give out. They never voluntarily enter the zone of damage, but you override it. And that override is not a simple thing. It is not just willpower in the motivational poster sense. It is a neurological event that requires a level of cognitive architecture that took millions of years to build. When the pain signal from an overloaded muscle travels up your spinal cord and reaches your brain, your prefrontal cortex does something no other animal's brain can do. It evaluates the signal against a future model of yourself. It compares the pain of now against an imagined version of you that doesn't exist yet. A stronger version. A version you decided you wanted to become. And it overrides the stop signal. This is called top-down inhibition of pain, and it is one of the most uniquely human neurological capacities we possess. Studies have shown that trained athletes can sustain significantly higher levels of muscular discomfort than untrained individuals, not because their pain threshold is physically different, but because their prefrontal cortex has learned to hold the future self in focus while the present self is suffering. They're not feeling less. They're overriding more. The brain is literally suppressing a survival signal in service of a goal it has constructed in conceptual space. No other animal does this. Not because they lack the muscle biology, but because they lack the mental architecture to make it happen. Think about what that actually requires. To voluntarily get stronger, you need to be able to imagine a future version of yourself that is different from your current self. You need to assign value to that imagined version. You need to sustain that value judgment across weeks and months of discomfort. You need a theory of your own body, an understanding that the pain you feel today is building something you cannot see yet. This is not instinct. This is not adaptation. This is something closer to philosophy. You're making an argument to your own nervous system about who you intend to become. Chimpanzees, our closest genetic relatives, sharing 98.7% of our DNA, cannot do this. They can use tools. They have social hierarchies. They communicate. But no chimpanzee has ever looked at its own body and decided it wanted to change. The concept does not exist for them. There is no inner voice evaluating the current self against a future model. There is only now. There is only immediate experience. The gap between what they are and what they could be remains permanently closed because they have no way to even perceive it. You can perceive it. That gap is all you think about. And this capacity did not come for free. The prefrontal cortex that allows you to override a pain signal and hold a future self in focus is the same structure that gives you language, long-term planning, abstract reasoning, and the awareness that you're going to die someday. It is the most metabolically expensive tissue in the human body, burning through energy at a rate nothing else in biology. The reason, as best as scientists can tell, is that the ability to model a future self and work backward from it to present behavior was the single most powerful adaptation our species ever developed. It is why we survived ice ages. It is why we built cities. It is why we landed on the moon. And it is also, quietly, why you can choose to get stronger when nothing else on this planet can. But here's the part that matters most. The capacity is not the achievement. The capacity is just the door. Every human being walking the planet right now has the same prefrontal cortex, the same satellite cells, the same hypertrophic machinery waiting to be triggered, the same neurological architecture for overriding a stop signal in service of a future self. You were born with everything you need to change. Not because they can't, but because using it requires something almost no other experience in modern life demands. It requires you to deliberately enter a state of damage, to choose discomfort, to hold an image of a future self in your mind with enough clarity and conviction that your brain will suppress a biological survival signal to keep moving toward it. That is not comfortable. That is not easy. And the world you live in was not built for it. For a billion years of life on Earth, 8.7 million species, countless adaptations, each one extraordinary in its own way. But only one species ever looked at its own body and said, "This is not finished yet." Only one species ever decided to become something it wasn't. Only one species ever chose. That rep you almost dropped. The one your hands shook through. The one your vision narrowed around. That was not just exercise. That was the strangest thing in the history of life on this planet. And you do it before breakfast.